What's going on YouTube? My name is Zach with Android Digest, and a lot of you may be wondering if you should buy the Google Pixel 6 or the Google Pixel 6 Pro. Is it worth the extra $300 to get the Pro model? Well, I've got both phones. Google sent me the Google Pixel 6 Pro for free. Of course, I'm very grateful for that. But I also went out and I bought the regular Google Pixel 6. So which one should you buy? Well, it's time to give you my thoughts. Let's get straight into this comparison. Alright, so I've got my Google Pixel 6 right here in my hand. I've been using Google phones for quite a while. I think they're phenomenal. They've got great software. So I'm a fan, right? Because the software is simple. But a lot of you are seeing these flagships come out now, and you're seeing Google really wanted to be competitive. So they released this 6 Pro at $900, and they released the regular Google Pixel 6 for $600. But there are some differences you need to know about. So I'm going to actually put the specs up right here on the screen so that you could see the specs and so that you could see really what you're working with. And one thing you're going to see, there are some differences between the Google Pixel 6 and the Google Pixel 6 Pro. So for example, the Google Pixel 6, it has less RAM. You're also going to see a smaller screen, and you're going to see it's only a 90 Hz refresh rate on the screen instead of 120. And the resolution is also worse on the regular Google Pixel 6. It's still very good, it looks great, but again, it's just a lower resolution. Now these phones do share the same cameras, at least two of them, but the Google Pixel 6 Pro will also have a telephoto camera. And they do share the same processor, and the battery life is very, very similar, even though it's a slightly smaller battery on the Google Pixel 6. So if we look at all that, okay, and you look at those differences, you have to ask yourself, what is worth spending $300 on? Now, if you're a techie who has to have the latest and greatest of everything, look, you need to buy the Google Pixel 6 Pro because it's one of the best Android phones that's out. Now, both of these phones run Android 12, so you may see some minor issues with software. Now, I haven't really seen many issues. I've had a couple apps force close, and on my 6 or my 6 Pro, I have not really had many issues at all. But there's only a few things that really differentiate these phones. Now, I mentioned the spec differences, but in all practicality, I don't think most people will notice the difference between a 90 Hz screen and 120 Hz. That just means the phone will scroll a little bit smoother, but it's such a minute difference when you're at 90 versus 120. Again, I don't think that's a big factor. The battery life is virtually identical between these two phones. So what are you paying for? Well, the Pixel 6 Pro has a curved screen, and I actually prefer a flat screen because it's easier to protect. So really, you're just paying to get a little more RAM, and that helps you with multitasking. But in all practicality, I did not have any issues multitasking on my regular Google Pixel 6. A lot of people, yeah, you might want the extra RAM, sure, especially if you're a crazy power user, but I think most users are not even going to notice any of that. These phones are built to work with you using a bunch of apps at once. So if you do fill up all your RAM, it's just supposed to close the oldest app that you haven't been using anyway. So a lot of you aren't going to notice a big difference between these two devices and the RAM. But what about the resolution? Again, I have not really noticed much of a difference in the resolution. Once you get above 1080p, I really do think it's a law of diminishing returns because you're not going to notice a significant amount of difference between this and the 6 Pro. But I'll admit, the 6 Pro does have a little bit of a nicer display and a nicer resolution. And it has a telephoto camera. Again, that is one lens that you might want to use. But for a normal user, if you're just wanting to pull out your phone and take some really nice shots, the 6 has two of the lenses that you would get in the 6 Pro. So you're going to be able to take all of these normal shots anyway without any issue. You also have a similar design. You're not giving up like the glass back or anything like that. You're not going to a plastic back. You're virtually identical in almost all these other things. So when I compare the two phones and I really think about it and I say what is best for an average consumer, I think most people would prefer the regular Google Pixel 6. Now, if you're someone who's a techie who has to have the best of the best and you're like, but yeah, I know it's close and I don't want to waste money, but I just really want that extra screen. Well, yeah, you're the target consumer for the Google Pixel 6 Pro. There's no doubt about it, right? If you're someone who has to have the latest and greatest, don't talk yourself yourself out of it, we know you want it. We know you're going to buy it anyway, right? So just buy it. But this Google Pixel 6 is a phenomenal value for your average consumer. And it's a phenomenal value even if you look at the larger landscape. You might look at something like the Galaxy S20 FE. It was one of the hottest phones out, right? Because it does have a great Snapdragon processor, right? It does have all these fancy features, and it's a very good phone. A lot of you don't know though that that phone doesn't even have a proximity sensor. A proximity sensor is the sensor that makes the phone go black when you put the phone up to your face. So the bottom line is the S20 FE, they had to cut corners to get to that price. A lot of phones will cut corners. They might go to a plastic back. So the S20 FE has a plastic back. Well, this has Gorilla Glass Victus, this Google Pixel 6. They didn't cut those corners like go to plastic. They didn't go to a virtual proximity sensor. And if they really did fool me that bad, hey, it's working great. And you also have to consider that even the S20 FE, it at least retailed, at least originally, at $700. The OnePlus 9, they had to drop their price. It's on sale right now to match this Google Pixel 6. And OnePlus has had a terrible record with software. Google just smashed open the competition. I think they let everyone know, hey, we are going to drop these phones at a great price. We're here to stay. And no, the Google Pixel 6 Pro is not better in every single way compared to the S21 Ultra. And this Google Pixel 6, no, it's not better in every way to every phone at this price point. But this phone, it does have all those extra features. It will hold for you, right? It has all those software features like Magic Eraser. And it's really like magic. You can get all these people out of your photos. You could get objects out of your photos. And it doesn't work 100% perfectly, but it does a great job of getting things out of your photos and making them look the way you want. I noticed if I take some photos with the Pixel 6 or the 6 Pro, if there's a ton of lights that are all different colors, I notice the camera doesn't always really recognize that perfectly. So the software, well, it won't always give you the best photo. But 95% of the time, I would prefer a Google Pixel 6 photo over any phone out there. And that goes for the 6 Pro as well. These phones have terrific cameras. So I would recommend either one of these phones to you. But if you're debating between these two phones and you're asking yourself, which one should I buy? I think a normal user will be very happy that they saved $300. And I think the Google Pixel 6 is the better buy. It will be easier to protect because the glass is not curved. It's a little bit smaller, and I think your average user actually prefers a little bit of a smaller phone. It's 6.4 inches. I don't think you're going to notice the RAM. I don't think you're going to notice the refresh rate. These phones both have the same processors, and again, your normal user doesn't go to a million camera modes, right? You just want to take great shots of your family and your friends and your animals and stuff like that, and you're gonna get some of the best shots out of any camera on this phone. So I think if you're wanting the best value, get the Google Pixel 6. If you're wanting the best phone, get the Google Pixel 6 Pro, which is arguably the best Android phone out. And it is arguably one of the best phones of the year, though they do need to fix some of those Android 12 issues that some people are having. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give me a like, give me a sub. It would mean a lot to my channel. Also, check out some other videos. Check out my Google Pixel 6 Pro review that I did. That's definitely a video to check out. Check out other videos. And by the way, I really hope you have a great day, and I hope you enjoy your week, especially in all these crazy times.